What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Pixel Dome. If you could, would you subscribe on the way in, way out, whatever suits you best? But if you do, I would greatly appreciate it. Today, I want to discuss with you guys the whole controversy surrounding OG hardware, like original systems, versus FPGA-based stuff versus emulation. You seem to have a whole lot of different camps these days on what is the proper way to play a video game and all that kind of stuff. Now, this conversation is going to exclude PC gaming because PC gaming is its own thing altogether. Now, I myself am a person of convenience. I love my old school consoles. I love some rare old school consoles, and I still collect them this day. One of the proudest things I have, and the thing I still love to this day, is my Sega CDX. Now, this is probably one of the first systems that came out that started the whole multi thing with, I'm not going to say emulation or anything like that, but it was, able to do a lot of different things at once, like play your CD-based games and then also your cart games. This is one of the early adopters of a multi-function system. I love it, and it plays games great. Now, in saying that, I am a purist about some things, but then also I have this little adorable Raspberry Pi case that I emulate with. I have zero problem with it. Now, on the other hand, I also love the convenience of the modern stuff that Analog comes out with. Like, I have my FPGA based system here, for my Super Nintendo. I've also, on top of that, got the Mega SG for, the modern FPGA based recreation of the Sega Genesis stuff. If you don't know what FPGA is, it's like a field programmable gate array, I think is what it is. And anyway, what it is like, I think they use an Altera Cyclone chip is the most common used chip, I do believe, for this. And the whole circuitry of the original system is recreated on that chip. And that chip essentially is all the transistors, resistors, capacitors, and all that jive programmed onto that chip, making that FPGA system run like an original system would, to more accurately create the cycle times, the color palette, all that kind of stuff. Does it make a gigantic difference? I do not know. Now, I do know I love these systems because they're all HDMI based, which makes them super easy to hook up on modern TVs. And they have a great picture when it comes out of them. Tons of options in them to set stuff up to make your games look the absolute best that they can on these FPGA-based clone systems. Now, these things come at a premium. These things can run you anywhere from $200 to $300 to $400 to $500 to $600, depending on who you buy them from. Now, the menu system within these FPGA-based systems is pretty robust, where you can do whatever you want. Whereas with the Raspberry Pi build, it's even deeper because most of these systems are based either on Batocera or RetroArch, something like that, where the subset of menus is deep. You can upscale the resolutions, all that kind of junk, where most of the time on your FPGA-based systems, they're usually 1080i output, where you can output way higher sometimes on these little systems, where you're emulating. Now, me personally, I've kind of gave a brief overview of these things and what they are and what they're good for. A Pi, of course, you can take and play every system known to man up into maybe a Sega Saturn or something with a Pi 4. So that's where emulation on a single board computer kind of stops. You can emulate on a PC all day long and go all the way up to a PS3 and even higher than that nowadays with a Switch and all. I'm kind of getting on a rant here because I don't understand the hate that's involved in all these different ways of doing things, okay? Because even if you're a purist and you're using an OG-based system like this, and you're playing it on its original hardware, all that and that, the way God intended you to play it. Well, most folks that's got this are playing it on like one of these flash carts. This flash cart takes an SD card on the side of it to where you load all your ROMs onto it of your favorite Sega Genesis games. You place this unit inside your system, and then you don't need all these cartridges. You can play them all off the menu system in the Mega SD. Well, granted, this isn't emulation. This also is FPGA based, but the thing about it is, aren't you getting away from the purity of playing on it on an original console when you're using something like this? I think most of y'all can see where I'm going with this. As technology goes, and as we move along, and as the price of original games and discs and stuff like that increase, we find ourselves more and more and more seeking out products like this to where we can play the entire library of a system on something like this. This is $300, but it's far cheaper than what some of the games for the Sega Genesis cost. So sometimes this just makes sense. I don't care what the chip is. I don't care if it's an Altera Cyclone chip, if it's FPGA based, any of that kind of stuff. The deal with it is, to me, it's not the original hardware. I don't care. I'm going to play it on this because it's terribly convenient. So that doesn't bother me. Now, you take things like the Evercade Versus. I love this little dude. I can pop 2 of their proprietary carts in there. All that. This is pure emulation, this little box. But people love it, and they cut this thing slack, I guess, because you actually insert a cartridge into it. That I don't understand, and you really don't catch a whole lot of shade on this system, and it is pure emulation. I think my whole thing behind this video and what I'm saying and why I'm saying it is, it doesn't matter what you play it on. It doesn't matter how you play it. You play games the way that you can play games. If you can play on original hardware, do it. If you can play on the higher expensive FPGA based stuff, do it. If you just want to emulate the crap out of stuff, do it. It doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter. This kind of hierarchy that is, I'm a big bass fisherman, and this hierarchy in bass fishing has been around for a long time, where you have to have a certain size boat, got to have certain size equipment on it, you have to be able to enter certain tournaments and be considered a professional angler. All this jive to show your credibility of being a true bass fisherman. The same thing bleeds over nowadays into the video game market somewhat. If you're not playing it on the original hardware and all this crap, you're not a true gamer anymore. You know, but yet the people that scream they're a true gamer are using these things. It's a really kind of great time to be a video gamer, I guess is what I want to say, because we have all these options now, and it's awesome, and some of them are a high price point to get into, but at the end of the day, they're super worth it and make playing your games even more convenient. I have a massive retro collection, a very big retro collection behind me that I love, and I'll never quit collecting video games, but I can't have them all, and that's why something like this will always be killer. Anyway, I'm going to end it there, folks. Like I said, play video games any way you can play them. Don't be judging other folks for how they choose to play video games. And let's just all get together and be one happy little gaming family. Alright, later.